Please allow me to continue to the session today. It's about patience. And the topic is beyond reaction, the Buddhist path to patience and inner wisdom, is inner freedom, and not inner wisdom, sorry. So let's start. Before reaction, first of all, I would like you, if you don't want to do it, it's fine. But if you want to follow the topic today, I would like you to recall, to think about the last time you felt a sudden flash of frustration, something coming into your mind. Perhaps it was this morning, maybe you were in traffic, maybe someone cut you off, or you were waiting for an important email that just wouldn't arrive, or perhaps your colleague or someone you love said something that felt sharp and unfair to you. And what happened to you in that moment? For most of us, there is an immediate, almost electric internal response. Yeah, a tightening in the chest, perhaps a clenching of the jaw, a rush of heat to the face, a critical thought flash to the mind, followed by a sharp word, or maybe just a deep, simmering resentment. It is the state of reaction. It felt automatic, uncontrollable. We feel like a puppet, and the world is pulling our string. A traffic jam pulls the frustration string, a critical moment pulls the anger string, a delayed flight pulls the anxiety string. We spend so much of our lives being pulled and pushed all the time by events that are ultimately outside of our control, and it is exhausting for all of us. It robs us our peace. The Buddha, over 2,500 years ago, looked directly at this human experience. He understood this inner fire of reaction and thought that there is a way to find freedom from it. Not by changing the world, not by eliminating all the traffic jams and critical comments, but by changing our relationship to them. Yes. We cannot change those things, but we can somehow adapt, change our relationship to those things that we cannot avoid. Today we will explore this path to inner freedom. It is the part of, in Pali, it's called khanti. That is often translated as patience, but it is so much more than that. It is a patient endurance, a wise and resilient strength that allow us to remain steady and peaceful. Even when the world around us is in chaos, it isn't about weakness. It's about cultivating one of the greatest strengths of the human heart. And what is khanti? Khanti, or patience. Patience is more than just waiting. So what is the quality of khanti or patience in the Buddhist wisdom? In the West, we often think of patience as simply gritting our teeth and waiting for something unpleasant to pass. But in the Buddha's teaching, khanti, this word in Pali, is a deeply active and wise quality. It is one of the 10 perfections, quality of the Buddha, virtues that are cultivated over a lifetime to lead to enlightenment. So it's more than that. First, it's important to understand what khanti is not. Khanti is not suppression. It is not about taking our anger or frustration and pushing it down inside, pretending it isn't there. Suppression is like holding a beach ball underwater. It takes immense effort, and eventually it will burst back up, often with even greater force. Also, khanti is not weakness. Khanti is not weakness or passive acceptance of harm. The part of patience does not mean we allow ourselves or others to be harmed. We can still take firm, compassionate action to protect ourselves and others. The difference is that this action comes from a place of clarity, not from blind, angry reaction. So what is khanti? Khanti is not suppression, not weakness. What is khanti? Khanti is the capacity to bear with difficult experiences without the mind becoming polluted by negativity. It is the quality of mind that remains open and steady in the face of the three main types of challenges we all face. There is some conclude from the some part of the teaching of the Buddha, but actually there are much more. The first, patience with painful physical experiences. This is enduring things like heat, cold, illness, physical discomfort without generating mental anguish on top of the physical pain. This is the first one that we need to be patient with. The second one, patience with painful mental experiences. This is enduring the insults, criticism, harsh words of, from other people. It's bearing with disappointment, loss, grief, without letting resentment or despair take over our hearts. The last one, there are much more. If you learn from another sutra, they make patience into four categories. This conclude to in another way. The third one is patience with the slow process of our own spiritual practice. Is being patient with ourselves, understanding that progress is not always linear, and that some days will be harder than others. So you can see that sometimes, for example, the previous meditation session, uh, some of you may feel that, oh, I have reached what I have done in the past. I want to make it happen. Why I cannot get calmer yet for meditation? And it is the last one, which is quite tricky. It's more about what is within you. The Buddha gives a powerful and even extreme simile to illustrate the strength of the two country. Khanti is known as the simile of the soul from one sutta. He said one time, the Buddha said, monks, even if bandits were to carve you up savagely, limb by limb, with a two-handheld saw, he among you who let this heart be filled with anger will not be obeying my teaching. In such a situation, you should train yourselves. Our minds will remain unaffected, and we will say no evil words. We will remain compassionate for their welfare with a mind of loving kindness with our inner head. Now, this is an extreme example. None of us are likely to face bandits with a sword, but the point is profound. The Buddha is teaching that our inner strength, our peace of mind, does not have to be dependent on the actions of others, no matter how terrible they are. This is the ultimate freedom. Country is patience, indolence is the shield that protects our own heart from the poison of hatred. No matter what is happening on the outside, it creates space between the event and our response, and in that space lies our freedom. And why should we cultivate patience? What do we get? Uh, Sometimes some people think because those people they can do something like that, why we shouldn't react it the same way? But actually, we also get some benefit from practice khanti, or we have some fruits of patience. First and most importantly, khanti or patience, and bring peace to our mind. Uh, Part of the teaching of the Buddha, he talked about two arrow string, just two arrows of suffering. The primary arrow is cause of our own suffering or dukkha, dukkha or suffering. It's not the difficult event itself. It is our the first one is the dukkha or the suffering itself, but the primary cause of our suffering is not that painful event. It is our reaction to it. This is anger, resentment, the anxiety we add on top. When we practice khanti, we stop adding this second arrow of suffering. And the first one, yes, is often unavoidable. We cannot always avoid it. But the second arrow, the mental anguish we inflict upon ourselves, is optional. Patience allows us to feel the first arrow without filing the second. This is the path to inner peace. But many times we keep adding it, and it's become one of the habit to many people. But people who can remain calmer in difficult situations, I mean, they just stop. They cannot stop the painful event. What they can do is they stop the reaction to those events, so they can be more at ease. The first food is peace. If we practice khanti, we have peace within our mind. The second one, wisdom. Khanti cultivates wisdom when the mind is perhaps overwhelmed by anger or frustration. It cannot see clearly. We make poor decisions. We say things we later regret. We escalate conflicts. Patience is like cool water that calms the fires of emotion. It gives us that crucial space to pause, breathe, and see the situation with clarity. In that space, we can ask ourselves, what is the most skillful, the most compassionate way to respond right now? The answer that arises from a calm mind is always wiser than one that elapses from a reactive one. Yes. From the frustrated or anger mind. The third benefit simply is transform our relationships. Think of the conflicts in your life with your partner, your family, your co-workers. How many of them are fueled by impatient reactions and harsh words spoken in the heat of the moment? When we cultivate patience, we learn to listen. We learn to give others the space to be imperfect. We replace judgment with empathy and reaction with understanding. This doesn't mean we always agree, but it means we can disagree. We can disagree with a foundation of respect, with kindness. It is the soil in which healthy, loving relationships can grow. And finally, khanti is the foundation for our deeper practice. If you have ever tried to meditate, you know that the mind can be a restless place. Without patience, we become frustrated with our own thoughts, our own inability to focus. Khanti allows us to sit with our restless mind with kindness. And we know that it's okay to be imperfect. It's okay that we don't reach that point yet. It's okay to be that way. So we stay with ourselves, we treat ourselves kindly. It is the steady ground upon which concentration and insight can be built. Without it, our practice will always be struggle. So it's how important. If you want to make more progress in meditation, it's necessary to practice patience now. And how can we build up more khanti. How to forge the shield. This sound, what I say may sound great, but how can we gain it more? How do we practice patience in the middle of a frustrating moment? The training is simple, but it requires consistent effort. First step, mindfulness. Uh, The first step is to become aware of the moment impatience arises. We have to learn to catch the spark before it becomes a forest fire. This is where mindfulness of the body is so powerful. Learn to recognize your own personal warning signs. It is a tightening in your stomach, a clenching of your fists, a hot feeling in your neck. When you feel that physical sensation, recognize it. There is impatience arising. Just this simple act of recognition creates a moment of separation. You are aware of it. It cannot control you anymore. See, see it. To After mindfulness, we may adapt what we call the sacred. I call it the sacred pause and the breath, or basically in your breath. Once you have noticed the feeling, the single most powerful tool you have is to pause before you speak, before you act. Just stop and then bring your attention to your breath. Maybe it maybe not just your breath, it can be any meditation objects that you are familiar with. For example, visualization or mantra. Bring your mind back to it and perhaps take two or three deep breaths, staying with it before you react. The breath is your anchor in the present moment. It brings you out of the angry story in your head and into the reality of your body. This pause is the space where freedom is born. And then continue to voice reflection in that space. When you have created deep breath, you can gently introduce a wise thought. You don't have to fight the anger, but you can offer your mind a different perspective. You might reflect. First thing, you may reflect on the truth. The one of the important reality in Buddhist wisdom. We may reflect on impermanence. This feeling of frustration is just a feeling. It has a license and it will pass away. It don't need to. We don't need to act on it. I don't need to do anything. It will pass. Uh, Sometimes you feel, oh, I need to do something, but if you give yourself some space, now you have time to reflect, and you will see that it will pass. And you may reflect on compassion. You may reflect that, oh, this person who make you feel frustrated, angry. This person who is maybe also who is frustrating me is also suffering. They are also suffering, being perhaps they are having a terrible day. May you may share, oh, they may have a bad day, and reflect that you also want to have a good day. So you share your kindness, compassionate heart, and wish for them. May they be happy. And when you wish for them to be happy, you will get to some positive energy within your mind. Something will grow more, and you can overcome those heat in your heart. And another way you can reflect, you may reflect on the consequences of anger. You may think that reacting with anger will only make this situation worse for me and for them as well. Final step, you may start small. Don't expect to become a master of patience overnight. Don't start by trying to be patient with the biggest provocations in your life. Start with the small things like practice patience when you are in the slow line at the grocery store. Practice patience when your computer is slow to start. Perhaps your smartphone when you do something. Start with it. Each small moment of successful practice builds the muscle of khanti. That is what we call muscle. I can't remember. Muscle memory. Yes, your memory will start to remember. It will create new pattern for your mind. These small daily frustrations are your training ground, your gym for the heart. And in closing today for the the part of khanti is a part of profound self-love and strength. This is the decision to protect your own heart from poison of anger and resentment. It is the choice to be free from the string of external events. It is the understanding that true power is not the power to control the world, but is the power to master our own mind. Yes. We cannot change the world if we don't learn to change, to direct our mind in a positive way. So every moment you choose a conscious breath, a conscious um, moment with your meditation objects over a reactive world, reactive word or reactive things around you. You are walking the Buddha's path. You are forging a shield of peace for your own heart. Yes, and this about how to practice patience and the importance of it.